The Wizard of Oz. And today we are going to be talking about the archetype of the Scarecrow, if I only had a brain. If I only had a brain. So we are building on the story of the Wizard of Oz and looking at it through grown-up adult eyes for the great life lessons that it absolutely contains for us. And we are using in part as our basis the work done by Jean Houston in her book, The Wizard of Us. And she takes the storyline of the Wizard of Oz and reminds us that it really is the storyline of the hero's journey. And that if we will but look, we will see ourselves in all the different phases and all the different characters in the Wizard of Oz. From Dorothy to the Wicked Witch of the East to Glenda to all of the different characters, they point to something inside of us. Much the same way as all of the characters in the Bible and all the great stories, both in the Old Testament and the New Testament, are not meant to be taken literally. At least that's the way we look at it in Unity, that they're not meant to be taken literally. That these stories in our Bible, Old Testament and New, are really also archetypical stories and stories that describe the awakening and the evolution of the soul as it comes into God consciousness. But that's a whole other story. We're going to talk about Dorothy, and we're going to talk about the Scarecrow and talk about that journey. And so, of course, we know that we've got as the main characters of the story Dorothy and Toto, and because of the tornado, their house was lifted out of Kansas and plopped in the land of Oz. And Dorothy is about to begin a journey to the Emerald City to meet the wonderful Wizard of Oz that she is told will be able to solve her problem and help her get back home. And of course, into her journey, she meets some companions, some friends that join her on the yellow brick road, each looking for something that they feel is missing in their lives, and that if they only had that something, their life would be so much better. Can you relate right there? Sure, for every one of us, there seems to be something that we yearn for, something that we feel isn't quite there or isn't quite what we want, and our soul is stretching for it, wanting to bring it forth and experience it. And that longing is about the feeling that when we experience whatever it is we're longing for, somehow we will feel more complete. Somehow our life will work better. And so we have Dorothy traveling along the yellow brick road, and she's barely begun her journey. And I love this. She's barely begun her journey, and she comes right up to a fork in the yellow brick road. And she's really confused. Okay, which way am I to go? Is it that way? Is it that way? What are the options for me? And then the Scarecrow does this. Can you relate to that at all? So this is what Jean writes in The Wizard of Oz about the fork in the road. She says, the fork in the road is traditionally a big moment in any mythic journey because it indicates the need to see both, if not all, paths available. This critical choice point represents the separation of the hero's known world and self. It is the point in which the hero transitions between worlds and selves to see the potential for a new world and a new self. The fork in the road can be frightening, for the hero doesn't know what lies ahead.
Thanks for listening. The Unity Center, transforming lives and healing our world. Check us out Sundays at 9 and 11. Subscribe to our podcasts and download our free app for instant access to a wealth of spiritual teachings, services, and events.